I like the way the guys are coming out and working, and they keep a focus on improvement. We see improvement on a daily basis, and there's a consistency to our approach that gives me some hope that we can keep doing.
What shirt are you wearing?
What shirt?
Are you wearing the Hawkeye shirt?
I don't have a Hawkeye shirt.
Didn't you order one?
Yeah, it hasn't come in yet.
Oh, I thought you ordered it for this.
It didn't come in.
Good job. So what are we doing today, Corey?
I'm going to stop right here so that we can get this out of the way. We're about to walk into the Pasture Room, okay? Outside of Kinnick Stadium. So I'm trying to get the cameraman to focus. Focus. All right.
They're testing out their hot dog shooter. I'm a little concerned how they're going to shoot hot dogs and it not be messy.
That was better. Is it better? Yeah, I think that was better. Yeah.
Do you know how hot he must be? God, it must be miserable. What is he doing? No one's taking pictures of him. He's just practicing his role, I guess. Getting into character, perhaps. Yeah, that guy is not even pointing at him.
As I stand here right now, I think, again, the one thing it can't be compromised, the integrity of the game, that's first and foremost. That's got to be protected, and that's where everything should start. We will continue to cooperate. I think everybody involved has done a good job of that. That will be ongoing, and as we move forward, just hope that, whoever's making decisions, they're thoughtful. Hopefully they're making appropriate decisions, and then, being timely would be appreciated as well. An outside law firm has handled it internally for us, as I think you know. So they've been gathering information. They've been, working on that in cooperation with the athletes, and some of the athletes have attorneys for obvious reasons. So at some point, all that information, maybe it already has gone to the NCAA, and then it'll be reviewed by them. I mentioned the DCI level. That's curious to me. Only in that, I've had a little time to think about it. There's 49 states by my count that play football, have college universities that play football. I think it's interesting that we're the only state I'm aware of, and I think it's interesting too. More than 2 colleges in our state. So it's kind of interesting how that all came about. Not excusing anybody's involved. And then also, I assume they've, maybe had charges against non-athletes as well. I don't know that. The point there is I don't know a lot of things right now, and we'll deal with what we do know when it's presented to us. As a coach, I'm really more concerned probably about the NCAA rules and where they fit in there in terms of eligibility. But obviously, if their charges are pressed and somebody's convicted, then you deal with that when it comes. So it's kind of a wait and see thing. We'll just let it run around as we go.
Noah Shannon, put it out there himself a few weeks ago. What's his status?
He's in a holding pattern like the other players. So, to my knowledge, no crime he hasn't been accused of any crimes, but he does have an NCAA issue to deal with, and we'll let it ride out and see what the NCAA has to say about it.
To clarify.
Let me go back on that too, just to give you a little bit more. And Noah's a really good example of this whole thing. it's given me a chance to step back and look at lots of things, and my wife's been involved in this. Noah's one of the best kids we have on our football team. He's a strong, respected leader, tremendous young person, and has been nothing from my standpoint than a model football player for us. I'm really proud of everything he's done. And I'm proud of the fact that he did come forward and say, I'm not sure I want to go to Indianapolis. I don't think it's right now fair to our football team, and that gives you a little indication to his character, I think. I think what everybody needs to remember about him is, he's only played 1 year of college football and really hasn't played much. He had 1 catch last year. So if you look at some of the other guys who transferred, McNamara's got a resume, Barry Ball's got a resume. Kaleb doesn't. He was a really good prospect out of high school. I would say he's a better prospect now, but he's still a prospect if that makes sense. He just got tanked up yesterday too, unfortunately, after making a really good play. So I think it's just a matter of time with him too. But I think to expect the same out of him as maybe McNamara, Hall. You're looking at 2 different categories. But I'm glad he's here. He's a great young guy.
What about Hayden makes you think he can get low enough to be a fullback? And is he I know there's no battles finished right now, but is he kind of cemented there, or what's the fullback position?
Yeah, we don't have a lot of options right now. Dusty's the other guy, true freshman, who's done a nice job. That is his biggest challenge, is getting low, which that's a disadvantage of being tall. But if you can battle a little bit, which you can, it's a matter of learning how to play. And it's true at every position, I can be an advantage or a disadvantage. So we all have our own challenges, and you figure out, what works for you and how do you really make that go. But he's been willing, he's a smart guy, and quite frankly, he just ended up here. I can't remember the whole story, but I'm glad he's here, and certainly didn't envision him being a fullback, and it's looks like a good path for him, so it's a pleasant surprise for us.
A lot of restrictions.
Our job is to ultimately slow the game down, and it's hard to go through a 5-man progression with the clock that you have to play in at the quarterback position. So the more that you can study and recognize coverages and understand what the defense is presenting you, to highlight, low-light, different things within a progression, so that they can play fast and efficient, and at the end of the day, it's their job to distribute the ball to the playmakers. And it's our job to get them to do that as efficiently as possible, and then let them play to their strengths. And when you have an accurate group, you can spend a lot of time on understanding reads, understanding decisions, and playing the game.
There's people like, what are you doing tonight? Because he has so many ties there.
Yeah. There was such a great time when we were there. Having played there, my wife went to school at Edgewood, and we were in Madison for 12 years. And not so much what are you doing there, but just you get the normal questions: is it weird? Is it strange being in the black and gold? But that within this profession, that goes away so fast, because, like I said, one of the things that we were looking at real hard when we had the opportunity was just who are the people that we're doing it with. And this place, you can't get a better staff from top to bottom, the people that you're around. And that was very similar to me in my time at Wisconsin. I mean, Coach Chris, he's a mentor to me, and he did an unbelievable job of making you feel that. And when I came here, felt that same thing. Obviously, Coach Ferentz is a Hall of Fame football coach, but you sit down with him for 10 minutes and it doesn't take long to realize he's a better person than he is coach. And that's been a real highlight for me and my family, being able to be a part of that.
If I'm remembering correctly, you were first a volunteer, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Came over as a volunteer. We're kind of waiting to see, what exactly was going to transpire within the profession, and if there were going to be opportunities come up. And started off as a volunteer, and was able to get a position in the summertime. And like I said, I was fortunate for that opportunity, and happy that I was able to, create enough value for myself that they want to keep me for another year. So very thankful to be here.
What was that like, moving without?
Yeah, what made it even tougher. My wife, she's a saint. She was 9 months pregnant with our second child. So she was a trooper, because she handled everything out in Fort Collins, and got the move, got the house sold, everything, all the hard stuff. she took care of so that I was able to come here and start learning and coaching and adding as much value as I can. But it was a transition period. But you know what, we stuck together, and it takes a village in this profession, and I'm fortunate that my wife was able to help me out there.
And then you were ready for the spring, right?
Yeah. Was able to get here in time for the spring so I could be around it, and you know, it was more getting a feel for just kind of what they were doing, and that was the approach Brian wanted me to take. Like, this is kind of who we are, what we've been, and you know, get a sense of, you know, what things thought could carry over, and what were some thoughts going forward that we might be able to transition into. And you know, that's one thing I said earlier, but you don't get to have success in the position I'm in without a coordinator like Brian. He puts his ego aside. He's challenging himself. He's challenging myself to think differently, the staff, and that part, I think, is what ultimately is going to lead to success.
Now with your new title, senior special assistant to head coach, I think it is, or something like that.
Yeah.
What does that mean from a day-to-day standpoint?
Day-to-day, it's really working real close with Brian and the offensive staff, and being able to, you know, analyze what it is we're putting on tape, what the concepts are that we're doing, and being able to provide feedback, not only for the quarterback room, but conceptually, you know, what I see, and confirming thoughts of what we felt like it was going to look like. And if there's something that's, you know, a little bit different, then okay, let's sit down and study it, and let's get to the bottom of it so we can make sure that it's an efficient plan for the guys out on the field.
Thanks.
I think Kate told me you were the first coach to offer him. What did you see in him, and has that kind of seen its way to the field?
Yeah, it was two things. His release was phenomenal. Between that and his accuracy, those were two things that jumped out right away. And then after that, because like I said earlier, that's kind of the price of entry. Like, you got to be accurate. You got to get to this level, you have to have that within you. He was extremely accurate, very efficient with his release. And then when I had the opportunity to go out to Nevada and watch him throw in high school, he was competitive. Like, every situation he put himself through, he was just doing routes on air. It wasn't a major workout, but he was ultra competitive. And I think those two things give you a chance to have success, you know, between the release, the accuracy, and then who are you as a person. And it didn't take long for me to see that. And, he decided he needed to go in a different direction, which I won't hold it against him. But those were a couple of the big things.
Is he the type of player you thought he was going to be right now?
Yeah, he is. He's eager, not to prove anybody wrong, but to prove himself right, I think. And I think that's important because he knows what he's capable of. He knows the standard he sets for himself, and that's a really dangerous thing for an opponent because it's inside, you know, and he's not looking to go out and show. He wants this place to be successful. He wants to be a part of it. He wants to impact it, and he's willing to do anything and everything to get to that point. And so from a football standpoint, yeah, it's no different than when I saw him in high school. I saw him on crossover tape when he was at Michigan. But I think that buying into the way the standard that's been set here and you know, what Coach Ferentz and all the guys that have come before him have created, he's really embraced that, and he's excited about it.
What about Deacon? You know, he's the guy that you recruited to Wisconsin. Big arm.
Yeah.
Is that what you kind of saw with him, and is he kind of the player you thought?
Yeah, Deke was very, very similar to Cade. It was, you know, his first offer, and went out to, you know, Santa Barbara at the time, and the same thing jumps out. You know, he can make all the throws accurate, and then you dig a little deeper and you get to know him as a person, and he's got a great family, athletic family, like all the you know, one of three sisters, and they're all water polo, you know, and which is not easy, you know, so he comes from a good background, and his parents are really solid. So never got the opportunity to coach him at Wisconsin, because right when he was getting there, I was leaving for Colorado State. So didn't get that opportunity to see kind of where he was at, you know, that year and a half at Wisconsin. But what he was in high school is who he is here. It's fun to see him around the guys, and same as Cade, embracing what, you know, the way they do things here and trying to make an impact.
To designate and split, like, let this thing play out a little bit here for another week or so, and maybe longer. But you know, like, at each position, it's not a new guy popping in. It's two guys that have had game experience, so that makes you feel a little bit better about keeping the process alive.
And so, that being said, you see it maybe
you're welcome.
Maybe rotating some spots at least early on in the season.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll just see how it goes. You know, we're 8 days in, 9 days in, so it's we'll see how it shakes out here.
All right.
Yeah.
So speaking of that growth process, I know you're talking about like the individual battles that these guys are having with each other. How important is like the rapport that they build between each other as a 5-man unit?
It's large. It's huge. But anytime you're working with an offensive line, you always want to have, like early in camp, you want to find out who are the 8. If you can get 8 guys game ready and ready to go, like we'd like to get 8 to 10 out of this group, able to go in and help the games. Some more than others. The chemistry itself is going to be a little bit different. We're more steady now with the lineups than we have been the last 2 years, just because we had some moving parts going on last couple of years. This year it's a little bit more steady. The same guys are out there every day practicing. And so if there's an adjustment, it's, hey, you were with the 2s, you know, for the last 2 days, I'm going to bump you up with the 1s so you can block Logan Lee and Y.A. Black. You know what I mean? Because they need that and get that experience. It's not like a hockey substitution where everyone's just going every which way but loose. And then we had a little bit of that last year.
Is it fair to say, I'm trying to read your mind here, but Richmond, left tackle, is pretty clear leader.
Agree.
Jones, center, probably pretty clear leader.
Yep.
The other 3 spots, are those kind of the up in the air?
Yeah, I think they're up in the air, yeah. Okay. So right now at left guard we have Colby and Feth going battling a little bit.
Well, DeYoung's listed first on our depth chart, but that could be old.
Right guard, DeYoung. Ellsbury's the swing guy at center. Okay, so at right guard you got DeYoung and Stevens. And then if we want to kick out DeYoung a little bit at tackle, we like today we bumped Colby over and had Colby and Feth in there. So, and then I think 2 out of the last 3 days Colby was with the 1s, and then this other day Feth was with the 1s, and today we went half and half, and so we got some good competition. And you understand this, but I'm embracing this because I've been, we've been missing that competition piece, and it's fun. It's so good, and we've seen. The cool thing is you see Connor Colby, who, let's face it, he walked in as a senior in high school, and started. Well, it's not good. It's great. It's great for him, and all that, but that's probably not the way you want it to go. So I think he's probably making more improvement now than he did with no competition behind him. No one pushing him. He was young and there was no competition. He's looking at, are you kidding me? Well, now it's hey, I gotta make sure, and that's good for him because he does care, and all these kids do care. But as soon as you get competition in the room, and there hasn't been any weirdness or anything like that, just everybody's working harder and there's more competition. It's really healthy.
Is Dunker Parker then at right tackle? We didn't get to that.
Yep. Dunker and Parker.
Those are the 2?
Yep. Dunker and Parker tackle, and then we've swung Nick out a little bit too to work out there. But yeah, that's going well.
So at Big Ten Media Days, Kirk said, he was asked about you a few times. He's an outstanding coach. I don't know if you saw his quotes, but he's an awesome coach. I guess now that you hear that, how does that make you feel? Because the production, obviously, I'm sure was not where you want it to.
Sure. Yeah, when it comes to that, if you do it as long, I think I'm in my 25th year.
Yeah.
And you just go through enough experience as an offensive line coach. I've just never doubted my ability or confidence in my ability. But I have been in different situations and walked into different situations, and I'm a realist. Mm-hmm. And you look at it and you nail it on what it is and what you have to do to get it better. And you just obsess over it, and that's all I do. And I don't really worry about the other stuff.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, from the outside, like, you can see how people are like, gosh, this line coach, we average 3 yards a carry, but Kirk Ferentz is like, this guy's awesome. So is this kind of the year you
all that stuff plays
pointing to?
Yeah, just all.
You know what I mean?
I don't know if you have a year you point to. It's because to me it's about people. To me it's not about. No, I know. I'm with you. I'm with you though. It's not about. I just don't have a feeling that I have. It's not about me proving myself. Like I think that's not why I got into the business. To be quite honest with you, it's like to me it's all about kids and people, and like I'm very excited right now because I see these kids. They're in a room right now that has competition, that has chemistry, and there's a tightness that's probably better than it has been a little bit, and that's just there's some growth there, and you just want to keep it pushing, man.
So to borrow your thing, like how close is Iowa to varsity line? You said you wish these guys could have been JV last year.
I think that's the expectation. I think the expectation should be that. And they should have been there last year.
Yeah.
That's life in the big city. Yeah. And that's where we're at. So, I'm more excited for these kids right now to be able to live and learn a little bit and go through some failures and things like that. And that's when kids get better. It's just hard. And I understand it's hard. It's hard from the outside when you're looking at the final number and the final this and that. And again, I've got to go back to people, and you got to get people in the right places and people with experience, and you got to get leadership in the room, and those are the things that I've been ultra obsessed with since I got here, and it's really exciting right now because I think we're starting to bite off the right pieces.
And everything he does is at 110%. He maximizes every rep. He's a very explosive player, and he loves playing the game, and he loves being here. So you take those two things: love playing the game, want to be at Iowa. And that's a great mix for a successful career here.
About the chemistry with Kate, do you see that right away that they play together?
You see it because they can communicate, and if there's something, whether in our offense or concept, that maybe they have a terminology or language that they knew or very similar to back at their previous institution, those guys can communicate that. But they also know in terms of timing and relationships and that kind of stuff. But also just having the ability to communicate effectively on and off the field with your quarterback, I think is very, very influential.
You and Greenway, you competed out here like I've never seen two guys compete. Do you see that with Kirk and Luke? Are they competing too?
I think defense is a little different because there's one ball and a bunch of guys running to hit it, hit the guy. But I think I can see some contrast in terms of what you're talking about. And I think the competition more is just trying to execute at a very high level consistently, and trying to be exact on the details of the small and little things, and pushing each other to be better every day. I think that's kind of what I can see from, when I played with Chad, is the ability to execute at a high level, be exact on the details on a consistent basis, and push each other to be great.
You guys competed like no other. You wanted to win every competition.
Absolutely, appreciate it. Thank you. Luke's a natural leader in his own way. He showed a lead by example, and he's very consistent on and off the field. Since Sam left, I can see him take a more of speaking up a little bit more, taking the guys under his wing. He knows, he's been in the room for some time now, so he's seen guys that have done it before him in terms of what they brought to the table, in terms of how to lead the younger guys. And first and foremost, you got to lead by example. So I think Luke is, taken to that leadership role really well. But I also tell Luke, Luke Lachey need to be Luke Lachey, and there's a lot of things that makes him unique. I think he's been doing a great job for us. And I think he's improving his game, both in the passing game, also in the run blocking areas of his game. I think he's off to a great start. And I look forward to him playing his fall. Hayden played in college before, so that's a plus. And then he was also here in the spring. So he's gotten the spring on his belt. Unfortunately, we had a guy go down that we had to pretty much throw large in there. And I'll tell you, he's been really great. Stepping up, asking questions, coming in early. But his development is just getting started, But thank God he has some experience playing at Dordt College or Dordt University. And look forward to him. And then you got Rusty, a true freshman, coming in. At the end of the day, you got two guys that can run, two guys that can hit, two guys that can understand what we're trying to get accomplished from an offensive perspective. So I think you got two guys that can really go out and play their position the right way, in the way we need them to play.
Jalen Thompson working there too, or back and forth?
Not yet. We just got him at the focusing on tight end. But I do think he has a unique skill set to be able to do some things in the future. Right now, we just got to work on that tight end. But I think Jalen runs really well. Obviously, coming in as a freshman and picking up things, you just want to kind of take it a little slower. But I think he's going to help our team if he continues to work hard.
If you don't mind me asking about the freshmen, obviously just had him here for a summer. Zach and Grant, what have you seen as far as their development just arriving?
Zach is, you never know when you recruit guys. You see what, you see guys see their film, you go watch them in person, trying to project kind of how they're going to be in college. But I tell people, most of your freshmen, as they come to camp here, they're going to be the the worst players in your position room because they're inexperienced and don't really know much. But I'll tell you, man, Zach has been really, really good. He's a really bright kid. He asks questions and understands what we're trying to get accomplished conceptually, and he's going to continue to get better. He pushes himself. Same thing with Grant Leeper. Leeper only had 1 year of high school football, so he's got some ways to go. I think he's actually ahead in certain aspects of where I projected him to be at this point in his career. So really impressed with both of those guys. I think we got 2 tight ends. If they continue to stay healthy, continue to work, and do the necessary things to improve on and off the field, especially in that weight room, I think their future is pretty bright.
So on our end, we're still training, right? But the stuff we do, the time we spend in the weight room is minimal relative to early in the summer. Late in the summer, we're trying to peak our conditioning. We're doing more football position-specific drill work, and coaches are incorporated more in some of the things that we do. So the closer we get to football, the more football-centric we become in our training. So the first thing we have to do is identify and have a good grasp on how their body works. So we take them through a movement screen just to identify any dysfunctional movement patterns and to identify any asymmetries they may have developed at other schools playing the sport of football. And from there, that's when we can have an idea of what we're working with and design a program that's going to fit their needs. So Kyler came in as a walk-on, right? And his off-season has been one of the best off-seasons from an upperclassman, from a senior that I've seen since I've been here. I mean, this guy has had personal bests across the board in all of our strength work, on all of our on-field performance indicators. Kyler has been lights out, and I hope he has a good season because he's earned it.
One of the big names coming in as a walk-on is Hayden Large. What do you see when you see a tight end / fullback at 6'5", 250 pounds?
It's one of the bigger fullbacks we've had since I've been here at the University of Iowa. What sets him apart is his hunger to be better, his humility. The guy's a tireless worker, and he's a great teammate to boot. So those are things that have helped in his transition here with our program.
Is he a guy that can get bigger and stronger?
I don't know that he needs to get bigger and that much bigger. He can definitely get stronger, but I don't know that he has to get much bigger for the position that he plays. But the strength's going to come with more time in the program.
I like the way the guys are coming out and working, and they keep a focus on improvement. We see improvement on a daily basis, and there's a consistency to our approach that gives me some hope that we can keep building.
Switching to some of the personalities of the guys, you have a really dynamic kind of mix of personalities with that defensive lineman. What does Logan Lee add to it? Coach Ferentz always makes jokes about how he's married with 2 kids and a dog already and stuff like that. How is it having him in that locker room?
He's a grounding force. I think he's a guy that he doesn't say a whole lot. Obviously very strong in his faith, and I think that especially for the young kids, he's a calming and grounding force for them to be able to lean on because he's so gracious and he's so easy to talk to. And if there's ever a message that I want to get across to the group, he'll be a good place to start just because of the way that his personality is kind of seeps through the locker room. Not just our group, but in the locker room as well. He's always the guy, along with Noah Shannon, along with Joe Evans, with them being older. Chris Ream is another guy that's being older. Those guys, if I ever need a message to get across, whether it be to the room or to the team, those are the guys that I would start with.
Do you ever forget how young Logan actually is? Because it just seems like he's like an old man out there.
No, that's one thing. I never forget how young any of these guys are. I ask them questions about NFL players from days of yore. And when I mean by days of yore, I'm talking about the late 90s, and they have no idea. But if I see something on Twitter or if I see something on TikTok, they're definitely the ones that keep me in the loop, keep me young. But no, I do not forget how young. That is not lost on me. That's all a really young group of guys just because of, they don't know what they don't know, So it's a good mix. They keep me young, and hopefully I enlighten them with some things that they kind of make them think.
Yeah. Now, YA Black, he's obviously, physically, he's just such a demanding and seems like he's such an intense person, but actually when you get to talk to him, he's such a goofball and kind of like a gentle giant. Can you explain that kind of dynamic that he has?
Yeah, the only thing demanding, there's not really anything demanding about YA until he steps on the field. Obviously he's done a really good job for us. Looking for a big jump this year. He's practicing well, he's finally healthy, but just as a guy, man, he's one of the sharpest guys in the room. He's really smart. He's got a great perspective, a music connoisseur, And, you know, just you can have a lot of really deep conversations with YA that you probably couldn't have with a lot of other guys, because there's a lot of depth to that guy. And just, you know, really glad that he's here. I'm excited for him this year, you know, finally being healthy. I think he's ready for a big fall.
And you were on that paintball trip that everyone took.
Yeah, I was.
All right, so
I was.
What did you kind of learn about your team in that, you know, getting to see a lot of the competitive and even some teamwork in there, and what kind of surprised you?
First, I want to shout out to Clear Creek Paintball in Lisbon, Iowa. They were awesome. Brennan, she took care of us. One thing that I saw, we don't like to talk. I talk about the defensive line a lot. When we had to break up into groups, there was a dichotomy. We broke up with tackles and ends. That was very clear. And it was shocking to me who saw themselves as an end and who saw themselves as a tackle, when I like to think of guys playing all four spots. So that was good. But you know, I'm glad that those guys are out there. They had a blast. Something that they've been wanting. They've been wanting to do something competitive. And I was thinking about mini golf. And I was like, yeah, that's just not it. And I was thinking about, like, can we get some go-karts? And I was thinking, where are go-karts? Just to in this area that we all can get to, and that wasn't it. So, you know, paintball was perfect. The guys loved it. We were out there for 3 hours. It felt like 1 hour.
And Diante Craig, obviously he came on really well coming off the bench last season. What are you expecting to see from him this season?
Just continued growth. I mean, Craig is a guy that, again, flexibility, could play inside, outside. He's another guy in that class of 2020 that, you know, the COVID class. And just, man, I appreciate what he's done here so much, because he's an ultimate student athlete. You know, excellent grades off the field, a really good teammate in terms of helping out the young guys. And what he's done and he'll tell you, he was a basketball guy first. That basketball was his first love, but man, he is no doubt a football player. Just the way that he practices, he's out here every single day, helping the young guys, just the things that we expect. And, you know, long after football is over for Diante Craig, and he's done playing, you know, in college or NFL or however far he goes, man, he's got a bright future. If he can communicate, he's sharp, and he's got a great smile.
We're trying to focus on, you know, getting better now versus, you know, reliving the past. You know, especially with practice now, we just have to get as good as we can before this season.
Yeah. You know, what's been working alongside Logan Jones? Obviously, his first year last year as center. You know, what has impressed you about him?
I mean, he's just, you know, he's a leader. He's a really good football player, but, you know, he's a great guy. And it's always fun to practice and play next to a guy like that you respect as a person and a player.
That's pretty good. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you.
So coming in here, I guess, first of all, you had sort of a pre-existing connection with Coach Barnett, correct? So now that you are, like, he's coaching you, you're doing the practices, it's real, it's go time.
Yep.
How's it been to be coached by him?
It's amazing. You know, it's easy to come out and practice when you have a coach that you love, because he loves us. Like, he trusts us as people, and, you know, it's easy to play for a guy like that. So it's been really, really good to get back out with him. Since I've been out here, you know, learning the playbook, I mean, all the guys are helping me because they've all done it before, and they've all ran this playbook, you know, done this scheme, and it's new to me. So they're all helping me. Every single one of them is helping me. There's plays that you wish you could have back, but you just can't. And at the end of the day, it comes down to, you know, a mistake on my part, you know, because the technique and everything that we're taught here is really good. And if you are able to hone in on that technique, you should be good. Even your bad plays will be good.
A lot of times people think, you know, you got competition and together two different things, but actually, but you know, it's not competition and togetherness. They're not two separate things. You got guys that are together, you know, because, you know, love each other, you care about each other, and then because of that, we have competition, you know, which raises the room. As a whole
lot of fun. It's supposed to be fun, exactly. The work is work. We know we have to come out here and handle the work all the time, but it's fun when you're doing something you really love. It's our job, quote unquote job, because we really love this stuff. So every time we're out here, it's a ball, it's a blessing.
I mean, this is kind of a grind, but at this point in the year, but it's also exciting, right? I mean, because you're not that far away from game day.
Yeah, game day is right around the corner, so we know we got to detail these things out right now, and then all the hard stuff is right now. When we get to the game, all the preparation, all the practice we put in these couple of weeks is all leading up to that moment. So when we get out there on that Saturday, we know all this stuff we've been through, all these hard practices, competing our butts off all the time, is made up for that Saturday.
Yeah, I'm just trying to go out there and do whatever I can, and hopefully I'll see an improvement in that way. But at the end of the day, I'm just pumped to get out there. It's been a long time, long 8 months or whatever it's been. So I think everyone's just excited to get out on the field, and it's cool. It's it's cool to be in this room, but that's just a testament to all the guys that have come here before me, and all the other guys that are in there now as well. You got all these guys that are on the wall in the tight end room. It's cool to look at. I think everyone, when they come in as a freshman, dreams of being on that wall. So it's pretty cool.
Any tight end from Iowa that you looked up to growing up, or you watched, or even today, even?
Yeah, I think George Kittle. Watching him play in the NFL is a lot of fun to watch. Sam was a great mentor to me when I got here, and I'd say those two. I didn't really grow up watching Iowa. I think that we go out there every day and we compete, and that's what you want to see in any offense or defense, anything. So we go out there, we always are trying our hardest, and I think a lot of people are having fun, so that's the biggest thing.
So many new pieces. Does that make a difference? I mean, or does it? But I mean, do you think there's enough of the returning there that it just kind of feels like it always does?
Yeah, I'd say it almost feels like it always does, and a lot of guys have been here for a long time, and it's been great just getting around the people and everything like that, and with a lot of guys coming back and everything, it's been everyone, it's been molded into how Iowa is.
Yeah. I know you've probably been asked about Cade. What is he like as a leader and as a quarterback?
Yeah, Cade's awesome. He goes out there, he's super confident. He can really throw a good spiral. I always like that. But he makes the right choices and makes a lot of good decisions.
Mm-hmm. How's your role going to change?
I think that I'll just go out there and do whatever they want me to do. I've seen a lot of everyone's roles kind of pick up this year as well. Not just me. So I think everyone just wants to go out there and help the team.
What's Cade like?
He's a very great leader, a good quarterback. I feel like as soon as he came in, he helped the offense right away to get to the next level. I feel like he pushes everyone to get better. When we all having bad days, anything, he makes sure to pick up the slack, and he's real big on being consistent each and every day.
Can you see that on the field?
Oh, yeah, of course.
He's a great kid, great smile. So I was selected by our teammates for Big Ten Media Day, and I just felt like it wasn't best for me to represent our team there with the pending investigation. So.
Must have felt pretty good though to be selected by your teammates.
Yeah, definitely felt really good. I mean, obviously I've been here in camp, so I still talk to them and see them every day, and they don't treat me any different. So I know I got the support of my teammates and coaches. So.
Do you have any updates on where you kind of stand at this point?
No, I haven't heard anything. Just waiting for the NCAA to kind of release what their disciplinary or whatever they come out with. So.
What has that been like for you?
It's been challenging, but also just love that camp started because it's a way for me just to get lost in my work. So definitely been watching a lot of film with the young guys, coaching them up out here. So I just like to do that, and because it helps me not think about all the stuff off the field.
Did they ever talk to you about, hey, maybe put your hand on the ground and?
No, not yet. But if I gain a bunch of weight, then I might be. But right now, it's just playing Mike.
What do you like about Mike?
You're really the quarterback of the defense, I guess you could say. You're calling everything out before the plays happen and stuff like that. So and then you really have to understand the entire defense to play Mike. So just learn everything. That's probably my favorite part about it.
Who's helping you the most?
I'd definitely say Jay Higgins and Nick Jackson, just kind of trying to pick their brains and figure out what to do and stuff. But yeah, they've been great. Most upperclassmen, they can be jerks, but here it's really different. Everybody just wants to see you do good, and that's what's great about this list.
What did it mean to put this jersey on?
Yeah, it's growing up. That's what you want to do when you're a kid living in Iowa City doing to be a Hawkeye, right? So it's pretty surreal, and I'm just trying to be grateful every day that I get to do this, because there's a lot of kids that wish they could do this and they don't get the opportunity to. So.
Coach Woods talked to you about special teams yet?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm just trying to figure everything out, where I can play on special teams, if I can play, and just kind of figure all that out. So.
Are you willing to just do that and play special teams all season and just go knock somebody's head off?
Yeah, definitely. Just anything I can do to help the team out. So far,
I had some scholarship offers from like Upper Iowa and Minnesota State Mankato, but I really I came here because of the level of competition. It was a walk-on position, but I knew that if I came here and I got developed and I, had the competition, that everything would work out. And then it turned into a lot more when I met all the guys here and really got to bond with all my teammates and, go day to day with them in practice. And it's been lovely being here.
Do you feel you can, after now 5 years, jump into a starting role at linebacker, or at least play significantly more at linebacker?
I feel like either way it goes, I just want the team to win. Personally, I feel like I'm ready to be out there on the field. And we got a lot of guys, we got a lot of depth in the linebacker room right now, I think. However that plays out, as long as the Hawks are winning, that's what I'm focused on.
The house I've heard a bit about is Nick Jackson, Diante Craig, you, and who am I forgetting?
Jay Higgins.
Jay Higgins, okay. Yeah. What have you learned from those three guys?
They're a fun group of guys. We just moved in together right before camp, so it's gonna be fun being with them and living with them the whole year.
Do you have a chip on your shoulder with being a walk-on and being here 5 years and playing a lot of special teams before you got the opportunity on defense?
I think like everybody, we all have something to prove. From the day you get here, you want to be the guy who's out there on the field. That's all of our dreams. So I guess I have a chip on my shoulder, ready to prove, what I can do. But I know there's a lot of guys out there on the team also have a chip on their shoulder. We're all trying to get out there, so.
I kind of thought, well, if we send a couple $100 off to Count the Kicks charity, that'd be great. But 2 years in now and nearly raised, I think, just under $60,000, which is pretty impressive. But obviously, my name and numbers on the shirt. But really, I just thank everyone that's kind of gone out there and purchased the T-shirt and donated to such a great cause, which means a lot to me personally, but more so all the Count the Kicks ladies who, have been through hell with a lot of the life experiences that they've kind of endured along the way, and I know how much it means to them. So that's just as important.
And what is about the position of punting that you find that you enjoy?
I mean, I've always just loved kicking footballs, and I've always and that's just me being honest. Like, it's an authentic passion, and I could go stand out there for 2 hours a day and smash balls, ball after ball after ball. I don't, otherwise my body would probably wear out. I'm getting pretty old, but I just love kicking balls and have from a young age. So I just love it. I don't really compare my game to anyone else. Like I'm Tory Taylor, like Adam Corsack, Bryce Barringer. Do I look at other guys? Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not trying to be like them, because I feel like if you start kind of playing that game and pretending to be someone you're not, that's kind of when you pretty much just shy away from what you're good at. So I kind of like to focus on the things that I can do well. There's certain guys around the country that could probably do things better than me at certain things. But I'm just trying to be the best punter I can be, and the best punter Tory Taylor can be.
Yeah, I feel like definitely being around just this culture has helped me grow mentally.
Absolutely. Not everybody grows. Keep going. I mean, I didn't really have the right mindset back then, but I also believe that I love my grandmother. All I really need to do is just keep pushing.
It's one of the bigger fullbacks we've had since I've been here at the University of Iowa. What sets him apart is his hunger to be better, his humility. The guy's a tireless worker, and he's a great teammate to boot. So those are things that have helped in his transition.